Well, hello, everybody. It is NFL points, picks, and props, and it is
Super Bowl time.
It is indeed Super Bowl time. Super Bowl week is here. In fact, we're recording this on Friday. In 2 days, the Super Bowl is going to be with us. Ben O'Connell is with us tonight from Chicago, Illinois. Tommy Burch, New Haven, Hartford. What's the town in Connecticut that you're at?
We're in Essex today.
Essex. Who knew that in Essex, Connecticut even existed? That is an education for me. I am in Denver, Colorado, the home of the Super Bowl 50 champions that Ben and I were just chatting about not that long ago. That's far more recently than Tommy's San Francisco 49ers won the Super Bowl, but here they are in the big game with a pretty good team. They had a pretty good night last night too, with the awards honors and all that. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Not a surprise to anyone because, well, he was a stud. 21 touchdowns. He led the league in yards from scrimmage, led the league in rushing yards as well. He does it all. And he is going to probably feature prominently in tonight's prop bets. So we have got a fantastic weekend of football. We've got a fantastic show for you. We're going to talk about who is going to win the game, but as our name says, along with the picks, we are going to give you props. And of course, the Super Bowl is a proposition bet bonanza. So let's see. I wrote a thing today about the tale of the tape for the two teams. And before we actually start making our picks, I just kind of wanted to chat with you two guys about where we think the matchups are advantages to one team or the other. I'll start at quarterback. I think obviously Patrick Mahomes, he's a two-time Super Bowl MVP, two-time NFL MVP. He has put that team on his back here in the playoffs, and the Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl. This is the fifth time in 4 years they've been in the Super Bowl. Only two teams now have done that, the Patriots and the Chiefs. When the Steelers went to 4 Super Bowls, they did it in 6 years. So Patrick Mahomes, can we all agree, is the advantage there is the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I feel like some 49ers fans are going to argue, oh, well, we're talking about this season, and Brock Purdy was an MVP finalist, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't. Well, if you think about it, this isn't the regular season. The MVP is a regular season award. It's quite clear, even coming from a Niners fan. You guys know that I try and be very unbiased on this show. Patrick Mahomes clearly has the advantage at the quarterback's position, and you can double that with his postseason experience and postseason success.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen was an MVP finalist, and Patrick beat him in the division round. Lamar Jackson was an MVP finalist, and Patrick Mahomes beat him in the championship round. So he has an opportunity to beat 3 MVP finalists here on his way to another Super Bowl. I think we also all agree on where the running back advantage lies, and that is with Christian McCaffrey, but not just Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Juszczyk is an excellent fullback. Doesn't get talked about enough because McCaffrey is so good, but he when Juszczyk is called on to make plays, he does. And Elijah Mitchell, also pretty good running back there. I like right. Mitchell is the guy, right? Or who am I thinking of?
I think it's at this point, it's more of Jordan Mason getting those extra carries.
Right.
But
Okay.
Jordan Mason runs angry. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's like mad at anybody who's in front of him. Kind of reminds me of like if Marshawn Lynch was not Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean? Kind of has that energy.
Yeah, I mean, I like Isaiah Pacheco with the Chiefs. I think he's solid. I think he's going to have a good game. But after him, Jerick McKinnon has been banged up. He might play, but he's not. I mean, he's good. He's good in pass coverage or pass blocking, and he's good out of the backfield. But he's not in the same category as any with the 49ers. Certainly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not either. The 49ers have a big advantage at running back.
I do love Pacheco, though. Sorry.
Pacheco speaking of a guy who runs angry.
He's the best running back that's Casey's had in a minute. I mean, they've been looking for a solid running game for since like Jamal Charles, and this is their guy. I mean, he's going to stick around.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't playing against CMC, you could make a very solid argument, I think, in a lot of matchups that Kansas City would be very competitive when you line up running backs. But yeah, no, Christian's just been on a different level, and you got to give it to him this year.
I mean, Christian, he's yeah. There's something special about him as a player. He's just and you got to love the way he plays too. I mean, it's not just he's good. He does everything the way you want a football player to do it. Wide receiver, I think we would also agree that advantage goes to the 49ers. Rasheed Rice has been good. Rasheed Rice has been racking up some yak, and he has really come on the second half of the season. But the tandem of Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel, I mean, there's they both are explosive. They both can take it to the house from any point on the field at any given time, and that's a big advantage for the 49ers. Now we may butt a little bit ahead here when we talk about tight end. Now George Kittle is the All Pro. He's the first team All Pro this year, and deservedly so. He led the league, who led tight ends in yards. Obviously, he's a great blocker. He also finished with more touchdowns than Travis Kelce, more yards than Travis Kelce. But what Travis does in the playoffs is special. It's and I'm giving the edge to Travis just because of how good he is in the playoffs. But it's razor thin because Kittle is a great player and he's had a terrific season. And at any given time, Kittle can go for 2 catches for 17 yards, or he can have 9 catches and 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he can be explosive. Sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle because there are just so many other options, which I think is a shame because when he's on, he's as good as anybody in football. And he's a good dude. I love I and Tommy, you may have as a Niners fan seen this from George's side, but Travis loves George Kittle and talks about him all the time and how good he is. And I don't know if George does the same thing for Travis, but they seem to have a really good relationship and seem to really like each other.
No, George does the exact same thing for Travis. I've heard it both ways. They commend each other. They both call each other better, which is very funny because it just like it does not help the debates at all.
Yeah.
It just causes more of a ruckus. Oh, they're just trying to be nice, but yeah, this debate's tough though. I'm gonna be a little bit more biased towards George Kittle in this. I think Travis Kelsey's exceptional in the playoffs, and he's possibly he's top three, if not top two, receiving tight ends of all time. However, George Kittle is top three, if not okay. He's top three, if not top two in blocking tight ends. This guy, he pancaked Aiden Hutchinson last week. Like not last week, sorry, in the championship. Like that's just he is an offensive lineman. He has a better blocking grade than most offensive linemen in the league, which is really sick to have an extra lineman on the field who also can outrun any linebacker and catch passes over any DB. I, it's really I would have to go split even on this one. As much as I am biased and I want to pick George Kittle, I have to leave it even on the playing field just because as much as one is better at one thing and the other's better at the other, it kind of evens out when it comes to weight on the field.
Yeah, and for me, I think that since they're so evenly matched and talented, it comes down to what's going to be asked of them in Sunday's game. Kittle has the freedom to kind of be more loose with it. He doesn't have to be the one making some of these big plays that Kelsey is going to have to pull off if the Chiefs want to win this football game. Now, Travis is more than capable and is plenty used to making these big plays. Let's not, get it twisted. But with that little bit of added pressure, I'm going to lean slightly towards Kittle on this one just because of the freedom that the rest of the pieces in that offensive room right now allow him to play with. Uh, they're both just fantastic players. I think they're the best two in the league. God, they're so fun to play. It's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great game.
It reminds me a little bit back when you had Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp. You had these guys who, at any given time, looked like the best tight end in football. And speaking of, Antonio Gates just got passed over for the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame class was announced. He did not get in. He has the most receiving touchdowns for a tight end in history. He has more than 40 more than Travis Kelce. I mean, that's how good Antonio Gates was. Obviously, Shannon Sharp was fantastic for those Broncos teams. Tony Gonzalez in the Hall of Fame as a Chief. You look back to that tight end competition, and it was nip. I mean, you could make legitimate cases for all of them, and that's how I feel we are with Kittle and Kelce.
Yeah, Gates doesn't get in, but Devin Hester does. Makes so much sense, man. So much sense.
Yeah.
If he didn't,
Yeah,
Bears fans wouldn't watch. Are you kidding me? Come on. You got to give Chicago something, dude. They're drowning out here, dude.
Not even the best returner in history. He's maybe the best punt returner in history, but Cordell Patterson has him. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you got to put if Hester gets in, then Patterson's got to get in, right? I mean, if that's the bar we've set now, then Patterson's got to get in.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So moving on to offensive line. Joe Thuney has been ruled out. He is not going to play. We pretty much knew that. Guys don't come back from a pectoral injury within a couple of weeks. So Joe Allegretti will start in his place. Now, Allegretti has been with the team since the first Super Bowl, so he's been with the team for a long time. He's not Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney is a fantastic player, but he's not. You're not sticking in a guy who's inexperienced. You're not sticking in somebody who doesn't understand the offense. Tackle play, obviously not great. The Chiefs are pretty good in the center of their line, but their tackle play is not great. The tackle play on the other side of the field, pretty good with All-Pro Trent Williams. I believe we've thought that he's been pretty good for a couple of years now. This is a guy who's going to the Hall of Fame as well. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's going to go down as one of the top 5 left tackles in the history of the game. And so I think obviously we go the edge there for the 49ers.
We got to give Colton McKivitz a little bit of credit though, because that dude can ball too. He just gets outshined completely by the other side of the field. But I mean, there's a reason that I was talking before the show about quarterbacks getting sacked, but he's one of the reasons why on the other side of the field, he's not getting sacked at all because he's not a liability whatsoever.
So defensive line, this is a little tougher because obviously Chris Jones is fantastic. George Karlaftis has come on. They both have over 10 sacks. Nick Bosa is great, but Nick Bosa's not had a Nick Bosa-like season. He's only had 10 sacks this year. This is a guy who, is expecting to get 17 and 18 in a season. But they've got so many different guys that they, the 2 different Javons, Chase Young, you've got a lot of different guys. And so especially with the injury
Eric
to Charles,
Armstead.
he's a stud. So with the injury to Charles Omenihu, really kind of hurting the Chiefs defensive line. They're really down to Karlaftis and Chris Jones and Mike Dana, who's every now and then can be okay, but whoever gets lined up against Trent Williams gets erased. So it's probably Mike Dana's just going to be a placeholder to keep Trent Williams from hitting anybody else. You go with the defensive line of the 49ers just because of the depth that they have. I mean, they can rotate out guys in and out all game long and not miss a beat. Although they've caught some heat about not playing hard. Now, I mean, Chase Young was shouting at everybody about we got to play harder and play better. It's the playoffs. If you're not playing hard at this point, I don't know that a teammate's could fire you up. I think also a little bit overblown. I think Chase Young is trying to cover for the fact that he hasn't come in and been this massive difference maker that he was hoping to be.
But also Chase Young is like the biggest culprit. I mean, you see him he let up a touchdown just because he didn't get an angle and didn't hustle to the goal line. I've been watching a little bit more of that 22-man film. Like this guy, if the ball goes opposite his side, he's supposed to be the emergency. And then sometimes you just see him jogging. Like, what are you jogging for? It's the playoffs. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but dude's just out there getting cardio in the playoffs. We got to do better. This isn't track and field.
on it, you gotta come out from play one. This is the Super Bowl, and the thing about the Chiefs is that they are not the Packers or the Lions. Me and Kyle were talking about this earlier. If you go down to the Chiefs, the fight to get back into the game is completely different than the two teams that you have just played, right? Just and credit to them for coming back in those games, right? But that is something that cannot happen on Sunday if you want to have that shot at a world championship here. So yeah, they're gonna have to be going full speed from the get go, and yeah, he's gonna have to figure it out from
But we
play
all
one.
know that Chase Young has the talent. Like we
Yeah,
know he's more than physically gifted. He has all of the fundamentals. And I'm not gonna lie, like I don't think we're gonna see any of that laziness on during Super Bowl Sunday. Like I expect both defensive line groups to have a couple of sacks. I mean, I think especially the Niners defensive line group, just because
especially. Mm.
just be, just because their edge group is so good and the Chiefs tackle room is not necessarily their strongest point. So I think they're going to get some pressure on the ends, make them step up. And I mean, come on, like Javon Hargrave is one of the best, and Eric Armstead are two of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. I mean, they're gonna have to step up, and Pat's gonna have to step up in the pocket, and he's gonna get pressure. I don't think it's gonna affect how well they play. I just think he's gonna get sacked a couple of times.
well, and don't get me wrong. I don't think that it's gonna be an intentional thing. I think Chase Young is gonna be more focused snap one of this game than he has the past two. But to that point, he hasn't been 100% on snap one for like a month, right? And so when that is the mindset, even when you are ready to turn it on, you've lost something. You've lost, and even if it's just a fraction, right? It is the devotion and concentration to the small details throughout the process that makes the whole thing run, right? And hopefully it doesn't bite him in the ass, right? I think that we can all say, regardless, we want every player playing at their best here. Um, but yeah, that would be the one concern that I would have for this position group for the Niners here.
Linebacker. I mean, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. They're two of the best in football in terms of a tandem. There's probably not a better tandem in the NFL. Warner's a first-team All-Pro. Greenlaw could easily be an All-Pro as well. And as good as Nick Bolton is against the run, he struggles in pass coverage. Did score a touchdown in the Super Bowl last year, but Willie Gay's good. The Chiefs have a good linebacking group, and Drew Tranquil has provided them some really good depth there, but they don't compare to the two guys on the 49ers side. So I think we probably are all in pretty firm agreement that those two guys give the edge at linebacker to San Francisco.
I do love Drew Tranquil though. That dude has some fire. Whenever he comes in, he pops somebody. I love it.
Yeah, he's a good football player. And I was reading an interview with him. He fully expected that the Chargers were going to bring him back this year, and then suddenly they didn't. And so he was happy to go to Kansas City because he would get to play the Chargers twice. And he's a free agent after this year. I think he's made himself some money with the way he's played this year. So yeah, he's going to get a nice little payday in the offseason. And the defensive secondary, the last position on the defense, and this goes to the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie, first team All-Pro corner. L'Jarius Sneed, snubbed as an All-Pro corner. Both these guys are fantastic in the blitz. They're great coverage guys as well. Justin Reed at safety has been very good. This is the area where the 49ers, probably their defense is the weakest. They have Travarius Ward, who beat the 49ers 4 years ago in the Super Bowl as a member of the Chiefs. So he knows Kansas City, and he may be his little revenge game. The Chiefs did not want to give him the big payday after he had his Super Bowl win. 49ers did, and so Ward he was asked this week, what's better about being in San Francisco? And his response was everything. So he clearly, maybe he's a little bitter that the Chiefs didn't want to hold on to him. So he may have a little chip on his shoulder on Sunday. But I think we would agree that the Chiefs secondary is it's the strength of their defense, and it gives them the edge over the 49ers secondary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Niners, it's probably the Niners' worst position group by far. I mean, Jair Brown has really, if Talanoa Hufanga was here and he wasn't injured, I think the conversation would be a little bit more, of a deeper conversation. I'd probably still take the Chiefs just because I think their defensive back group is much better in coverage, at least playing behind them. Talanoa Hufanga is great at playing in front of them, which is why he's great deep at safety. But Jair Brown has really stepped into that role as a rookie, late round rookie. He looks good. But it just doesn't compare. The Chiefs, actually, that was probably one of the Chiefs' biggest concerns for a little while is their pass defense. But Andy Reid bucked up and got the team exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and kicker. Then I think we go Chiefs. You've got Harrison Butker, who he's 14 of 15 all time in his Super Bowl kicks, including PATs. He won the Super Bowl last year with a field goal. In the postseason, he's 5 for 6 from beyond 50 yards. And then you've got a rookie. Look, I give Jake credit. He missed a field goal early in that game against the Lions, but when it mattered and when the pressure was at its greatest, he did buckle up and get his kick. And of course, he's a Michigan guy. He played in some pressure situations at Michigan. He's not brand new to big games, but he's not as good as Harrison Butker. And so if this game comes down to a field goal kicker at the end, the edge goes to Kansas City and Butker.
Agreed. Completely. I don't think there's much argument there. And, maybe one day Jake Moody will be an incredible kicker. And he's pretty good now. He's above average, but he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And especially when you get drafted as a rookie and you perform just slightly above average, like it's kind of below expectation. If you're going to draft a kicker, what was he, 4th round? You expect him to be top 10 off rip.
Yeah.
Yep, this is when you make your money as a kicker, and he's proven that he can do it. I wish he wouldn't, but he does. So yeah, good for Kansas City for having some good players, right?
And then coaching. Look, I like Kyle Shanahan. He's a brilliant guy. He is innovative. He has followed in his dad's footsteps in terms of turning running into an art form that he can make up for the fact that the league is a passing league, but he can create running plays that are like passing plays, very much like his father. But Andy Reid has 2 Super Bowl wins. If he wins on Sunday, he ties for 3rd all time. He is the only coach in history with 100 wins for 2 different teams. He has been around for 25 years. He is, and he's obviously also a very good offensive mind. He came up with the little Rose Bowl parade spin around that they did in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, and a couple of other little trinkets that they threw out last year. You can be sure that there will be a couple of trick plays from Andy Reid on Sunday. I give the edge to Reid. Spagnuolo also has been having a terrific year as a defensive coordinator. I like Kyle Shanahan. The difference is not great. When you look at the 2 resumes, you would think that the difference is great. It's not. Shanahan is a great coach. Shanahan is going to be coaching in this league for a long, long time. He's, again, brilliant mind, but I'm going Chiefs here at coaching.
It's just like if Kyle Shanahan was going against anybody else in the Super Bowl, it would be Kyle Shanahan. But then he has to go against one of the best coaches of all time. Like this is just it hurts my soul. But sure, Andy Reid, you got it.
I mean, with Belichick out of the league next year, you can make a very real argument that Andy Reid is the best coach, like legacy wise in the league. He's been doing it for a long time. Again, another guy I wish he would just kind of stop with the success. That would really help me out as a Broncos fan. But nah, dude's a genius, and he makes the game of football better. Both men do, honestly. But Shanahan's contributions are going to be more in the future. And right, we're in the middle of the Andy Reid era. I give the edge slightly to Andy Reid in this one.
I mean, Andy has a really successful coaching tree, but look what's happening with Shanahan's tree. Obviously, D'Amico Ryan's terrific season. Mike McDaniel in Miami. These guys have all, well, and that's part of the problem in San Francisco is every year their assistant coaches get pilfered because they've learned from Kyle Shanahan. They go on and they are, unlike Belichick, Shanahan's assistants are very good head coaches. So,
yeah, maybe one day Shanahan will be a better head coach than Bill Belichick. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
his assistant, the impact that he's leaving on the league is pretty impressive.
Well, his methods are more universal. Like the whole thing of the Belichick was like the Belichick system, where it only works in New England. Versus the Shanahan system, you can apply that anywhere. It's like Bill Belichick is that one rusty key that works for that padlock, but only sometimes, and you have to kind of like move it around and try and fight the right angle. But then the Kyle Shanahan is like a skeleton key, like you can put it anywhere, and it works.
Well, that's the thing. So if Bill Belichick is available and there are 7 openings and all 7 teams say not interested. Imagine if Kyle Shanahan was available. All 7 teams would be crawling over glass to try to sign him. I mean, that's the reality. So Belichick.
He might get paid more than a starting quarterback in the league.
I mean, Nick Saban just agreed to be a college commentator this next season. Maybe we'll see Belichick alongside Tom Brady. I could see that. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be
with his little
electric.
dry humor, his dry humor and poor commentary.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've done the breakdown. That is the tail of the tape between these two teams. Now, let's get to our picks. The picks for the game. We are going to go with the final score. The 49ers. Let's go ahead and take us off the screen there so that we can see the whole thing. 49ers 2-point favorites. I made this pick back in September before the season started. I had this Super Bowl matchup, Chiefs 49ers 31-20. I am not changing anything. This is the pick that I made 5 months ago. This is the pick I'm making right now. Kansas City beating the San Francisco 49ers 31-21.
Okay, Kyle.
Okay.
10 points is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, but you know what? It's not as much. It's not as many as 11 points.
Oh,
11 points is more.
I hate it here.
Ben is picking the Chiefs to win 31-20. And Tommy, you may remember a 31-20 game between these two teams 4 years ago in Miami.
Would you believe that I didn't even remember the score?
That's terrible. That makes it even worse.
I just sat there and I put my little brain cells together and said, "This is what I think the score is gonna be."
Well, will it be like the last time too, where the 49ers were up 20-10 with 7 minutes left?
Oh my god!
I remember, Kyle.
All right, so both obviously both Ben and I have the Chiefs covering the spread and winning outright on the money line. Tommy, your pick, you have the San Francisco 49ers winning by a field goal, 27-24.
Yes. Now, this is what I think is going to happen.
So that covers the spread also. So you got the 49ers covering that 2-point spread.
They do cover, barely. But this is what's going to happen. The 49ers are going to get up big early. They're going to get up 2-3 scores early. But early in the fourth quarter, they're going to be up 2-3 scores. But then the Chiefs are going to come back within 3. But that one field goal, they're not going to have time to get it. That's because if it's close throughout the whole game, the Chiefs are going to win. That's just how it's going to play out. But the San Francisco 49ers are going to start off hot. The first half, they're going to take a big lead, and then going into the second half, the Chiefs are going to mount a comeback but fall just short. That's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously the 49ers are favored. Talking about, again, I was writing about this today. From the very beginning of the season, the 49ers have looked like the best team in football from week 1 on. Obviously, they took a bath against the Ravens. A lot of that was because turnovers just took that game away from them. It was Christmas. They were looking to get home and get the presents from Santa. They, it was a weird situation, but the 49ers have been great all season long. The Chiefs have kind of sleepwalked their way through the year and have turned it on here in the postseason. So would it be surprising if the 49ers win? Of course not. The 49ers are a great team. They're the number 1 seed. They are the favorites. So yeah, could this happen? Of course it could. They're a good team. They're not in the Super Bowl on a fluke. They're in the Super Bowl because they were the best team in the NFC all season long. All right. So we now are going to move on to our props. Before we do that, I was just kind of dicking around with some things. I was looking back at some of the great runs in Super Bowl history because I feel like that running backs are going to play a key role on Sunday. A lot of talk about the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, but I really think that the running backs are going to play a role. And I came across some of the best runs in Super Bowl history, and I put together a little video. And before we get into our props, let's just look back at the history of the Super Bowl through the eyes of the best running backs to play.
For the rest of the day, and you're going to see Parker bursting one over the right side. They call him Fast Willie Parker, and Fast Willie Parker has just gone 75 yards for a touchdown.
Very confident. They're showing well tonight.
On 2nd and 10 to Sean Foster. Foster breaks through. 30, still on his feet. 20, 10, 5, touchdown.
Playing it cozy in this third quarter when they've had the ball, which hasn't been much. Another big hole open. Going through is Sonka, the 40, 30, just belted one man out of the way.
Gives to Thomas. And Thurman breaking tackles at the 22, inside the 10.
Some drops if you plug in there. What kind of percentage he's got?
He's thrown for 210 yards, and Smith wide open. 40, 30, inside the 20. Timmy Smith going down the side.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
Reaction. This is a great running back. Watch him. He starts out here to the left. He feels the force, the support coming. He says, oh, I can't go there. There's strong safety. Ken Coffey there. I'll start here. Now I see a cutback against that guy. Now I see open field. I'm just going to turn it on and take it into the end zone. That is a heck of a run. You don't teach that. You don't practice that. You don't see that.
26. Tom Matty cutting back and breaking away. He may be caught from behind. And Billy Baird finally wrestled.
And it's good night, San Francisco.
38 yards for Damian Williams.
That is our look at the best runs in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Tommy, I could have led with the Damian Williams run, but I felt like that it was a good way to finish before we get into our prop bets.
Yeah, you really put a period on the end of that video, didn't you?
Look, it was your real quarrel is with Joe Buck, who said goodnight San Francisco. You really, he's the guy who let you down there with that call. All right, let's move on to our props because that is what makes the Super Bowl so much fun. Obviously, we've told you who to bet on, but that's only one little bet you can make. There are dozens and dozens of other bets to make, and we are going to start with you, Tommy. Your props, let's go ahead and put those on the screen. And we have we're going to start off with your San Francisco 49er team props. Please tell us what you've got over here going on.
Yes. So I told you guys before what I think is going to happen for this Super Bowl, how I believe that the 49ers are going to score big and score early, and then the Chiefs are going to mount a comeback. And that's where my first bet comes from. I think the Niners are going to they're either going to get the ball first or the Chiefs are going to punt first, because we all know that sometimes the Chiefs start off slow, especially with how their offenses, they need their receiving room kind of takes a little more time to warm up and grease up the gears a little bit. So I believe the first points on the board are going to be the 49ers, and win between 1 and 6. It's not going to be, if they win, it's going to be a close game. And there's no doubt in my mind the 49ers are not going to blow out the Chiefs. That's not how it works. You don't blow out the Chiefs in the playoffs. If you win, you are the favorite. And if you win, it's going to be close. So adding those two together, which seems very reasonable to me, plus 475 is great value.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be close. I mean, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has lost 3 games in the postseason. 2 of those games went to overtime. So he plays close games. Yeah, so obviously I disagree with you on this, but I don't think that this is an outrageous prop. And at 475, I wouldn't have been surprised if this was a plus 280 situation. But plus 475 makes it you're talking about, this is the margin. This is the point spread margin plus a coin flip on who scores first. So yeah, that's a great value there.
Yeah, no, at plus 475, that is great value, and especially when you're looking at some of these props, if you're going to play quite a few of them like we are, you're looking for some of those value bets, because value is what can hit and really make your night, So yeah, I like this bet, despite maybe not necessarily agreeing with the outcome.
Okay, so for bet number 2, I'm just going to move right on. This one I think you guys would be more on board with, because it doesn't necessarily have to do with the outcome of the game. It just has to do with the points scored. I know both of you said that it would be 20 and 21 points, but with the way that 49ers offense rolls, it is more than possible for them to go over that mark. And I think over 23.5 is definitely in the cards for them. 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That's very easy for this 49ers offense. It happens almost every game for them. And over 23.5 points, which is 3 touchdowns almost always. I'm gonna, for 24, if they score 24 minimum, 3 touchdowns, and I don't think they're hitting that 30 mark. I think 30 is the maximum they hit. The Chiefs' defense is too good, and the Chiefs' offense, they're going to control the clock. They're going to have the ball. In the Super Bowl, you don't just run and gun the whole time. You play smart. You play smart football. It's not like when was that game? Was it Rams? Was it Rams Chiefs? When it was like
54 to 451. Yeah.
Yeah, 54 to 50. That's not how this works. These are the 2 of the best offensive minds in a coaching staff in football, and they're not going to play stupid. So I don't see Shanahan going over 30. I think at plus 258, as much as it is a 3-legger, it's still it feels almost hyper realistic.
Yeah, no, I mean it fits completely. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean if they're going to get over that 23.5 like you said, I think that is completely reasonable on the other 2 ends.
All right. So now rock into number 3, bet number 3. This one is a little bit 49ers winning bias. I think they're going to hit 20 first, and they're going to hit 25 first. This again goes to them scoring early and scoring big. Plus 174. If the 49ers win this game, which there's a coin flip chance that they do, they are going to be the first team to 20 and 25. They're not going to win from behind. They're going to win from ahead. So if you believe the 49ers are going to win this football game, in your heart of hearts, you know the 49ers are going to win, that is the bet you want to put down.
Yeah, I mean, that matches exactly with the way you've picked the game. So add plus 174 on top of the money that you would make if the 49ers win. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that's all I've got for my 3.
Okay, well, we've got your Chiefs team props now. We're gonna roll through yours. We're gonna roll through all yours here first, and then we'll go to Ben, and then we'll finish up with me. So now these are the team props for the Chiefs. These are your 3 picks for the Chiefs. And I mean, again, your first one there fits right into your narrative for the game.
Yeah, so this first one, it's between 20.5 and so it's between 21 and 30. That's what it is. If they score between 21 and 30 points, you get plus 118 money, which, I mean, come on. Like that should be in minus money, to be honest with you. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's a reasonable range.
So I like your second bet here because you're kind of hedging your bets here. You got the 49ers first to score. Now you got the Chiefs first to score. So if one doesn't work out, the other one will.
Yeah, and both of those bets are pretty low risk,
Yeah.
The first to score and win by 1-6, that was, a hefty bet, plus 475. But if you're gonna make your money back, you might as well do it in the opposite direction, right? First to score and record a sack. I do believe that the Chiefs are gonna get the first sack of the game. I mean, Chris Jones is a force up the middle, and the interior offensive line of the 49ers is their weakest point, and they have a tendency to get some holding calls as well. And Chris Jones eats that for breakfast. He's gonna. I believe he's gonna get the first sack of the game. But Karlaftis could find his way in there too, unless they send Drew Tranquil on a blitz, because that dude is crazy. But who knows? All I know is that the first sack of the game is going to come from the Chiefs. And first to score plus 102 money. It's almost, in the minuses, but it's as close as you can get. But it's still plus money.
Plus money. That's always good.
Nothing more Chiefs than a Chris Jones sack, so I'm here for it.
And lastly,
I like the alternate spread there because that fits in with your narrative. You can still get your score, win on the 49ers covering the spread, but also win on the alternative point spread. So a little double dip there if that plays out for you.
Kyle, I was calculated about these. I've been putting the math together for these, man. I feel like I'm a mad scientist. Over 2.5 touchdowns, because come on, if these two teams, as well as they can play on offense, both of them are going to score 3 times. They're both going to score 3 touchdowns. Rashee Rice is going to have one. Pacheco's definitely going to have one. He always has one. And then Kelsey's going to have one because it's the playoffs. And then on the Niners side, it's going to be anybody plus Christian McCaffrey. There's going to be 3 touchdowns on both sides of the ball. Again, between 21 and 30. I'm so stuck on this. I really do believe that is where the points are going to end up. There's just an inkling, but sometimes, you got to trust that instinct. And plus 5.5 alternate point spread. I mean, that it's a much larger point spread than the actual point spread. And then you're getting plus 274 money on it. I love it. I love it.
I like it. All right. Individual props. These are your player props for the 49ers. Oh, and hey, look, that's Christian McCaffrey.
Yep. There's Christian McCaffrey. So for my first bet, this one seems like the safest of my bets so far. CMC and Deebo Samuel anytime touchdowns. Those, if you're going to make a player prop bet for the Niners, and if you're going to pick only on the Niners to make a player prop, these are the 2 guys that are most likely to get an anytime touchdown. Because, I mean, yeah, you could pick Ayuk with a receiving touchdown, but not only is Deebo keen to getting in the end zone receiving, but he also is keen to getting in the end zone rushing. And in the Super Bowl, they're going to pull out all stops. And if Deebo Samuel is effective out of the backfield, they're going to find ways to get him the ball out of the backfield. Again, it's the Super Bowl. Playbooks change in the Super Bowl. Deebo Samuel is going to get 2 or 3 carries in this game, and there is a good chance that he scores at some point. Got to take advantage of your weapons. So, and CMC always scores. So CMC and Deebo, anytime touchdowns is the move.
Yeah, I'm just looking back since week 10. Deebo has scored in 6 different games. Did not score in 1, 2, 3, 4 games. So that's a 60% rate of him scoring. obviously CMC is almost a given that he's going to score. And if Debo can continue on at 60%, that's a pretty good bet. And at plus 224, seems like a pretty solid return on your investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, isn't this just easy money, right? This is gonna just
Yeah.
this is supposed to happen, right? So, yeah, no. Especially at that, at those odds. Why wouldn't you slam this?
All right. I like this little rush yards over little trifecta you got going on here with 349ers all hitting their overs on the run. Take us through that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We know it's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game of the year. They're going to rely on their best player running the ball. CMC is going to have over 90 yards rushing. I feel like that's almost a guarantee at this point. Especially in the biggest games of the season, he's going to get more carries. And I just said Debo is going to get 2 to 3 or possibly more carries. It's very possible. And in this game, in the biggest game of the season, I mean, it's more than likely that they're going to pull something out of the playbook. I think he's going to go over on rushing yards. And when he does get the ball out of the backfield, he averages almost 10 yards per carry. I'm pretty sure that's the actual statistic. He scored 20-yard touchdowns rushing twice or 3 times this year. And then Brock Purdy. This one is the one that feels the most logical to me. We just talked about the Chiefs' defensive back room. I don't think that this Brock Purdy rushing yard stat has anything to do with how well he's going to do running the ball. I think it's going to be how well the Chiefs defensive backs are locking down the receivers, because if they hit a nice like cover 4 zone against and they're locking down the receivers, Purdy's going to have to make a play. And you saw in the clutch when he needed to, he did it last game. I'm more and more in belief that he can do it again week by week. I think he has the legs for it, and with the Chiefs defensive back room, it's got to happen.
Now, I looked this up. 8 times this year, the Chiefs have given up 30 yards or more to a quarterback on the ground. So it could absolutely very easily happen. All right. Your little trifecta on your tackle overs here for your defensive players. And again, I all of those seem very reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, Money Mooney Ward, 3.5 tackles makes sense to me. That one's probably the most, on the fence one, just because he's usually locking down their best receiver. But the only reason I think he's going to get 3.5 is because they're going to complete passes. The Chiefs are going to complete passes. They're going to get second level. And then Traveris Ward is going to have to make a tackle. Diamador Lenore, he is one of the best tackling defensive backs on the team. He loves getting in the box. He loves cracking people. I mean, he's almost caused injuries. He's like a mini-sized Dre Greenlaw. It's very funny seeing such a small guy go and just demolish people on a football field. 3.5 is bare minimum for that guy. And Fred Warner's the best linebacker in football. I mean, he's going to have 6 tackles. The middle linebacker gets the most tackles out of any player on any given field for the most part. And he flies across the field running like a 4.5, 4.6. So all these together, plus 800 value. Plus 800 for a couple of tackles. That's the best value I've got.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Chiefs are going to run the ball inside with Pacheco. So you're going to get Warner getting tackles there. They're going to run some wide receiver screens, so Ward's going to get some tackles there. And to plus 800. While you might fall short, but at plus 800, it's a chance worth taking for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, like the plus 800, and it seems very like plausible, So great line, great value. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to lock this one in myself.
I love hearing that. When my friends say that they're going to use my bets, I feel so useful. I feel so wanted and loved, appreciated even.
All right, let's get to your Chiefs player bets.
Yes.
Big payday right off the bat there.
Yes. This is my favorite. I love this one. See, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm a huge Justin Watson fan. I think he's one of the best if not the best, not the best. I'd say Isaiah Likely. He's he's kind of a hybrid tight end receiver. But he's one of my, if you consider him a tight end, he's one of my favorite backup tight ends in the league. He's so much fun because he's just a possession receiver. He always gets those third downs. If it's short yardage, when you need him, he is there and he doesn't drop the ball. He doesn't drop the ball. I love players who don't drop the ball. He's a role player. He knows his role. And we know the linebacker room for the Niners is their best position on defense by far. So and Fred Warner is one of the most athletic linebackers, and he's huge. The dude's huge. He's probably going to be locked on to Travis Kelce all game. And Dre Greenlaw is not that incredible in coverage. He's really not. He is made to hit people and rush the passer. He drops back into coverage all right, but it's nothing crazy. Now you put Justin Watson out there against Dre Greenlaw, and you put your focus on Travis Kelce. It's going to leave a spot open for Justin Watson to score. And I understand he's only scored 3 times this season. I know he's only scored 3 times this season. But it's going to be the Super Bowl when he does. And Isaiah
Pacheco, you're getting plus
12.
you're getting plus 1,200 because it's not likely to happen, but it's so worth the risk because of the big payday.
Exactly. And Isaiah Pacheco, he is one of the most consistent running backs in the league. I mean, he's going to get however many carries a game. He's going to get however many yards. And now the Chiefs don't have to do anything stupid and crazy on the goal line.
No,
because they have a guy who's going to run through 3 people and score.
Pacheco's like even money to score. So then you're really just looking at Watson, and I like your scenario. It's 3rd and goal from the 6. Kelsey's going to get covered. Rashee Rice is going to get covered. Mahomes isn't going to trust MVS, or they just activated Sky Moore. He's not going to trust that. He does, however, trust Watson. He looks for number 84 because he trusts him, and he's going to find him. So, yeah.
Listeners of the show know, when it comes to the Super Bowl, you can go to any radio show, any podcast covering NFL betting, and they'll tell you Travis Kelce's going to score a touchdown or CMC is going to score a touchdown. But you come to NFL points, picks, and props because we see the future and we can tell you where those fat lines are where you're going to make some money. And Tommy Burch just delivered you one right here at plus 1,200. Go take it to the bank or else you'll always live wishing you had. Come on now. What are we doing,
You're always one bet away from hitting the jackpot, man.
Well, and if you hit that one, you can take a bath and the rest of them, and you're still had a good day. So, yeah, I like it. All right, you've got a little double for Patrick Mahomes there. And all of those, I mean, in his postseason career, he averages 282 passing yards per game. That's you're asking for 262, so 20 yards less.
I'm asking
touchdown passes. Again, in the postseason, he averages 2.3 touchdown passes per game. If Patrick Mahomes is average, you hit your bet.
I'm asking for a below average Patrick Mahomes playoff performance against a slightly above average defensive back room in the NFL. He does this against the best defensive backs in the NFL. He's not going to have much of an issue with this with the 49ers. He's going to have a very, very good game. He's going to have a good game. Despite what the rest of his team does, he is going to have an incredible game, as he always does when the lights are bright and the moment is big. And plus 160, come on, plus money on a below average playoff in the Super Bowl? Come on. That's just stupid. Like, Vegas is just handing this to me. Vegas is hosting the Super Bowl and handing out the easiest bets in football.
They want to host again, apparently. They want everybody to feel really good about the Super Bowl.
Hey, maybe if they have a terrible turnout to the Super Bowl, at least Caesars is going to be making a boatload of money.
Definitely. All right, I really like your last bet because we got playoff MVS. So we saw him make big catches against the Bills. He did the same thing against the Ravens. He goes well over 19 yards against both those teams. Playoff MVS is a thing. And then Pacheco also has been featured more in the passing game. He, especially when you factor in the Chiefs screen game, I mean, this to me feels for plus 240 also feels like a really, really good bet.
Yeah, and for Pacheco, I mean the Chiefs are almost at the top of the league in passes completed behind the line of scrimmage. I mean they're kings of screen passes, bubbles, and running back screens. I mean that's how Travis and Rashee Rice and Pacheco get hot. That's one of Andy Reid's staples. Is if he thinks a guy isn't getting the ball enough, or if they're heating up, he's gonna find a way to get them the ball. And the best way to do that is designing them a screen so that they can get their hands on the ball no matter what. They're going to have blockers in front of them instead of behind them. So Pacheco, 16.5 seems quite light, especially in the Super Bowl. And if your blockers up front, if your offensive line isn't playing very well against this defensive line, getting Pacheco out of the backfield and completing a pass to him behind the line of scrimmage, maybe doing a little breakout running back screen once or twice, it's guaranteed to get you 5 to 10 yards. And then MVS, I mean, he's a starting receiver on this team. As much as my opinions on him are very mixed, and that game-sealing catch was a very sketchy one, and it was kind of lucky because he lost his footing and he was falling over and he caught it somehow, kind of just bobbled in his hands. That's the football gods bless him.
His catches against the Bills though were solid. Those those catches were in traffic, other hands on the ball. Frankly, I was surprised he made both those catches, but he did. So
well, playoff MVS, right? I don't think Patrick trusts him still, which is why I'm all in on the Justin Watson. But he is a starting receiver in the Super Bowl, and it's going to be against one of the better offenses in the probably the best offense in the NFL. They're going to have to come back from behind, and you can't come back from behind by just throwing to two guys. You know, you're going to have to spread the ball around. MVS is going to get 3 or 4 receptions on 5 or 6 targets for about 25, 30 yards, if not a little more.
All right. So we finish up with the exotic props for the night. You've got 3. Hit them for us.
Yeah. This one's fun. So, according to my score prediction, there's going to be a total points score of 51. Now, how many, this is going to sound really stupid, but I just want you guys to hear me out here. How often are those long field goals 51 yards exactly? Just think about it. Like, how many times have you heard 51-yard field goal on your TV set? Quite a few times. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know why there's just this inkling. It's an exotic prop. You know, you got to kind of throw something out there, but it's really possible. 51-yard field goal, 51 points.
I mean, that's the thing about these exotic props. You're not really betting on them because you think they will happen. It could happen, and they're fun, and they come with nice payouts. I mean, and that's what this is. It's fun. It's a fun exercise. If, let's say, somebody hits from 51 in the first quarter, the fourth quarter, you're begging and pleading for 51 total points because you know you're going to get plus 2,500 if somebody scores a touchdown in the last minute to make that 51 total points. And then, of course, Moody's going to miss the extra point, and it'll be 50, and it'll all be blown off.
That's crazy. Oh, my goodness.
You'll be like, yes, I've got it. And then they're like, oh, wide left.
That is phenomenal. That is fantastic. Because I was just sitting here going, that's a great prop bet because Butker can definitely hit that 51-yarder. I'm scared about Moody, though. If Moody's the one lining up for that 51-yard, you're like, oh, please, dude.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's awesome.
Lord have mercy. It's fun, though, you know. It's fun.
Well, that's what these are supposed to be. They're supposed to be fun. They're. I mean, it's like the squares when you're playing squares for a Super Bowl. You're just. It's all just chance. But it's fun. It gives you something fun to watch and pay attention to. Your second bet. Now, I really hope that this doesn't happen. I know it's plus 3,000 to be cool, but I want Timmy Smith's performance against the Denver Broncos to remain as the Super Bowl record for rushing yards. I don't want that record broken. And here's why. Not because it's the Broncos. It's because Timmy Smith literally did nothing else his entire career. He was a rookie. He had 600 total yards that year. Goes for 204 in the Super Bowl to be set the record. He then this is my favorite story. So again, he did not have a great rookie year, but he had a great Super Bowl. His agent says to the Washington Redskins, "All right, we need a new contract. You're going to make Timmy the highest paid running back in football." The Redskins say, "No, we're not." Timmy holds out. Timmy doesn't come to camp. Timmy finally comes to play because he needs the money, because it wasn't like he had a big rookie deal or anything. He comes to play though, 25 pounds overweight because he didn't go to camp. He sucks, gets hurt. The Redskins ship him out. He goes and plays. He gets signed by somebody else, but doesn't make the roster. He goes to play in the USFL with the San Antonio, whatever. This dude literally did nothing else in his entire career except set the record for Super Bowl rushing yards. So I really want Timmy to have that record in perpetuity, because it's the ultimate one-hit wonder is Timmy Smith. But plus 3,000 would be fun. It would be a lot of fun.
If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be a Kyle Shanahan-led CMC offense. Come on. And there's a reason why I didn't pick a Brock Purdy passing yards prop. There's a reason I didn't. Because if CMC gets hot and he starts running the ball all over the place, I think that if anybody is going to break that record with one of the best offensive linemen of all time, one of the best, how would you call it? One of the best receiving and running backs of all time. I mean, he's just so elusive. He's a Swiss Army knife. And if you just got to get him the ball. Plus 3,000, man. Plus 3,000. Come on, dude. Please, I'm begging you. Run all over the Chiefs.
There's a reason why it's plus 3,000. No one in 57 Super Bowls has done this. It's going to happen. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to go for 227.
Stop. Oh, my goodness, dude. That's funny.
All right, your last one. More field goals than pass touchdowns.
Yes. So I had to kind of hedge my bets here because I said Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns. But there's a world where Brock Purdy has 0 passing touchdowns, and he goes 0-0. It's happened before. He might not throw a pick because he can be very consistent with that, but there's also a real world scenario where he doesn't throw a touchdown. And if that is the case, 2 passing touchdowns, or 1 for both of them, and 2 field goals, or there's 1 passing touchdown, 2 field goals. That's more field goals than passing touchdowns right there. I mean, if anybody's going to throw a passing touchdown, it's going to be Mahomes. But there's a real world scenario where he only throws 1. Because of the pressure he's going to get, the best linebacking room in the NFL, decent defensive back room. It's possible. And there's a real world scenario where Brock Purdy doesn't throw any touchdowns. And 2 field goals kind of seems like it has to be in the docket for these two teams. So I don't know. That one's plus 130, just a little fun, short one to end it off.
No,
but I feel like the longest field goal and total points are the same number. Might be more of a reality than that one.
Just
All
Tommy and Pat McAfee out here rooting for the kickers on Sunday, huh? Just y'all just waiting for the brand.
Kickers are people too.
Oh man,
they got that weird shoe though, and that kind of throws everybody off. All right, thank you, Tommy. Those are Tommy's 15 prop bets for the Super Bowl. Ben O'Connell also has 15 prop bets. Let's look at them right now. Team props. Well, 49ers. Moving the football.
Yeah, I have the Niners making the most trips to the red zone, despite me not picking them to win. I just think that the Chiefs score a couple touchdowns on some big plays outside of the red zone. And I think that every time San Francisco scores, they will have made it to the red zone. So, yeah, It's in minus money because they're the favorites, I guess. I don't know actually how excited about this bet I am, but it's here on the sheet, and I made it, so I will bet it in solidarity. Don't even worry.
Somebody's going to have the most trips to the red zone, so
It's a coin flip. You'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, Tommy. This is controversial. Trips to the red zone.
I think that the Chiefs might have it. Just because the Niners, they let people go down the field. They let people run down the field on them, get to the red zone. But, I mean, you saw it a couple times against the Lions, too, and the Packers. They get in the red zone, but then they stop them for a field goal. So they could the Chiefs could still lose and have more trips to the red zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Made field goal for the 49ers the first time they have the football.
Oh,
plus
yeah.
400. That seems like a pretty hefty plus 400 there.
It kind of jumped out to me because I kind of foresee the Chiefs defense just starting a little slow. I don't know why. That's just kind of my read on my little hunch that I got. I do think that they pull it together and keep them out of the end zone. But I do think that the Niners on their first drive will find a way to put some points up on the board. And at plus 400, line seems a little too big for me to not take advantage of it. So I'm going to jump all over that one.
Yeah. I mean, again, plus 400, it's hard to resist. Part 3 of your 49er team bets under 23.5 points.
Yes.
Fits with your final score.
Yeah, so admittedly, I would love to get that 24.5, but that would take it out of plus money, and I'm in the business of making money here. So I'm playing the under 23.5. I do think that 24 is a very realistic point total for San Francisco. But hey, live a little, right? It's a national holiday, right? So let's live it up.
All right, Chiefs team props.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs to get the most sacks in this game. I think that later in the game, I have the Chiefs just jumping out to a little bit of a lead, and I think that later on in the game, 49ers are going to be forced to get the ball down the field pretty quickly. I think Purdy's just going to be kind of a tackling dummy back there in possibly the past couple or in the last couple drives. I have the Chiefs ending the game with the most sacks. I think Chris Jones has a great game in proving once again why you give him money to begin with at the start of the season rather than just kind of waiting throughout the process a little bit. Yeah, he's just going to make his presence known. I have the Chiefs getting the most sacks in this one. So, yeah.
I really like this second pick. So the over 63.5 total field goal yards. So all you need is somebody kicks a 40-yard field goal. All you need is one other field goal, and you've got it, basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's for plus money. That to me feels like that's about 10 yards short of where it should be for plus money.
Oh, especially for Harrison Butker. I think that he has the range, and he feels plenty confident in putting him out there and trotting him out there, even on some of those longer ones, even earlier in the game. I think that, even like a 32, like 232s seems incredibly possible. I don't know why this isn't plus money. I'm going to jump. We were talking about it earlier. I jump on value. This is a giant value bet for me. I think it's sure to hit almost, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's just too easy for them to find the end zone.
Unless
right?
they don't kick any field goals.
Exactly.
If they kick field goals, this feels like it has to hit. 2
Right.
field goals and this thing hits.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
and you've been on the win from behind for a while now, and it's working out. So
yeah.
why fix it if it ain't broke?
this is a team that can win from behind, right? And regardless of the situation, you're never going to feel safe with the Chiefs. Uh, I was looking for the odds just for a lead change, and there's a couple different ways you can play that. Uh, in fact, you can play KC to win from behind at plus 210. You can also hedge that with San Francisco to win from behind. When I was looking at it and making these picks, it was at plus 180. Regardless, in that situation, if you play both lines, you're going to end up making some money just for a lead change in the game. I couldn't find the odds specifically just for yes to a lead change. I'm sure there's a sportsbook out there that will give you that action. But if you're looking for another way to play it, just kind of play both teams on this bet. And you're gonna find a way to end up positive, but it's the big game. Why wouldn't there be a lead change, right? Am I crazy or?
Of course, it's going to be a lead change, and look, the Chiefs' 2 Super Bowl wins were both from behind. This is this is what they do. So yeah, it seems like a pretty obvious bet.
And at over plus 200, it feels crazy valuable. So I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm all for all of your bets. I mean,
All right.
all of them.
Let's go on to the 49ers player props.
Yeah.
Tommy's not going to like these as much as he just liked the last pack, I'm going to guess.
Yeah. My first prop, I'm going to expose him for what he
Tommy
is.
just said they're going to be 0 interceptions, so.
Brock Purdy's going to throw an interception before he throws a touchdown
It's possible.
in
this game. If he's going to throw a pick, it's usually before he throws a touchdown, which does show his integrity and that he's strong and doesn't fold under pressure.
Well, and
then there's the Baltimore game.
I'll say this for you, Tommy, as well. It also it dispels the whole narrative that he is a game manager because he takes risks. Game managers don't take risks. He throws the ball downfield. He takes risks, and that's not what a game manager does. So people who call Brock Purdy a game manager are simply they don't know football because he's not. This is a guy who is an aggressive quarterback.
It's like Joe Flacco. If you're going to throw a pick, I'd rather you do it like a man, like a real man, throwing it 20 yards over the head of your receiver.
Well, yeah, make it a punt. Don't throw a 5-yard interception. Throw a 50-yard interception.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love Brock Purdy, dude. I think that he's so funny as a football player. I love watching him. I do think that he's a dude that can just take some crazy chances with the football. And then it is fun to kind of just see Kyle trying to just reel him back in for a little bit. Just be like, hey, dude, let's just run the rock for a second. I think that the Super Bowl jitters just kind of add the pressure. The moment is huge. He hasn't felt this moment before. That's not something that, Patrick has experienced that. Anyone would be nervous. It's normal to be nervous. You're supposed to be nervous for this game. I just believe that the secondary of the Chiefs get the better of him early. And at plus 190, that line seems a little too juicy for me to pass up, especially as the resident Purdy hater on the show. So got to get that one in.
This bet points to a little bit of inaccuracy for Purdy, which is ironic because with a bolt-action rifle from the 6th floor window of the Schoolbook Depository in Dallas, Texas, he is deadly accurate.
Kyle, that's crazy.
You won't even have to calculate for when this time. They're indoors.
Nope,
It's dope. Good for
indoors,
him.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Speaking of things that make me go, oh my god, dude, Christian McCaffrey, dude, what a weapon, what an absolute unit of a man. Talking about deadly weapons, am I right? Christian McCaffrey, just absolutely insane and can torch you. One thing that I do like about him and Shanahan's system is the way that they get him the football and change the looks up, and they're not afraid to get him on a quick pass to throw it to him behind the line of scrimmage, and let him rack up some yak. 40 yards seems a little low for plus 125 on the receiving side, so I'm gonna jump all over it. I see him breaking a couple just screen passes, easy. to pick up the majority of this. But yeah, at plus 125, I know it's not the sexiest line, but it's still in plus money, and it seems very doable, and that's what I'm about.
I could see McCaffrey getting 70 yards rushing and 70 yards receiving. I could see him have that kind of dual threat game. So 40 yards receiving feels to me like an average day for McCaffrey in the Super Bowl.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I'm on board with that completely because, especially we were talking about the Chiefs' defensive back room. I mean, there's going to be times where they have to man up a linebacker out of the backfield.
Yeah.
You know, because or they're going to put a spy on Purdy. Something's going to happen where he's going to have a mismatch, and you know that those Chiefs defensive backs are going to lock down the receivers. He's going to have to go to the check down.
They didn't spy Josh Allen. I don't think they're going to spy Brock Purdy. I mean, we think Purdy's going to break 12.5 rush yards, but I don't know about a spy.
Okay,
but I do. But Tommy, your point of the defensive backs with their backs turned because they're following receivers down, and then you've got Purdy hitting McCaffrey as an outlet, and he's got then plenty of space to run. That absolutely is a scenario that I can see playing out multiple times during the game.
And because they go to McCaffrey so often, I think that he, out of all the guys on the field, are just going to have the most likely chance of scoring 2 or more touchdowns. And at plus 220, this is not unheard of for Christian McCaffrey either. We are very used to seeing him make multiple trips to the end zone. I think that if the Niners are going to find a way to win, it's going to be off of a big day from CMC. Easily, I see the 2 touchdowns coming into play, win or lose for them. At plus 220, I'm going to slam that value.
You know he's going to score 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky, he'll do that early. So then you've got 3 more quarters where all you just need is 1 more touchdown. So really, this is a 1 touchdown bet because we know he's going to score. All he just needs now is a second score. And you're doubling your money. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, if Christian McCaffrey does not score on Sunday, so many people are going to lose money. So many.
The 49ers will lose if McCaffrey doesn't get in the end zone.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Player props for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. So the first one, we got Patrick Mahomes showing off the legs, getting a rush over 7.5 yards. Of course, that's going to be dependent on where they spot the ball when he slides. But the dude is going to break out of the pocket at some point. He's going to scramble. And usually when he does, he somehow manages to pick up like 6-7 yards, picks up the first down. It's actually quite annoying. I'm not sure if your favorite team plays the Chiefs as often as mine does, but you know, he can throw it every which way. He can do it horizontal, and he can also apparently run like the wind. So, you know, what can't he do? I'm just here to make money off of him at this point. At plus 105, 7.5 yards. Yeah, that seems super doable for me.
Well, you may remember the last Super Bowl last year. He had 44 yards rushing on 6 carries, and that was with a fucked up ankle.
Yeah,
his ankles are healthy now.
Yeah,
and it's funny. Mahomes jokes when he'd run his 40 time at the combine, if he'd had somebody chasing him, he would have been able to shave like half a second off. He's so much faster when there's a dude right on his heels. When he's all by himself running, he's not that fast. But if it's to avoid a tackle, somehow he has this little extra speed. And there's this. I mean, and he runs kind of funny. He runs with a little weird get up, but it's super effective. And yeah, I mean, 7.5 again. As long as the line judge doesn't come in and mark the spot 2 yards back for the slide, I think you've got this one.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes kind of runs like a bigger Kyler Murray.
Yeah. That is a good comparison.
Yep.
All right, a couple of anytime touchdowns for the 2 guys for the Chiefs who are most likely to score touchdowns.
Yeah, I was just kind of throwing stuff together, and I was like, what are the odds of this? And for some reason, it's at plus 236 to get Kelsey and Pacheco. Wow, you know, when you look at the offensive weapons for the Chiefs right now, We got Pacheco, who has been making a name for himself, and Taylor Swift's boyfriend, who has really, really taken the nation by storm this year. I find it incredible. Good for both of them. And at plus 236, I think that's good for me in my wallet. I'm going to be slapping this down because, listen, if this is a Chiefs game, I think they're both going to find the end zone.
I mean, they both did just score last week. So, yeah.
And then, because they find the end zone so often, Harrison Butker, over 2.5 point afters. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be automatic. It's just about how often the Chiefs find the end zone. I think they find the end zone 3 times in the first half. I think that we sit pretty on this bet at halftime and are just enjoying some Usher. I'm all for the Harrison Butker over 2.5 PATs.
Well, he was 5 for 5 on PATs last year in the Super Bowl. He is in his career 8 for 8 in Super Bowl PATs, and so yeah, I like it.
Agreed.
All right, and you have one more group. It is your exotic props.
Oh yeah, to the fun stuff. Here we go. I believe in Moody. I do. And in fact, I believe in Kyle Shanahan more to not put him in shitty situations. I think that Shanahan's going to be very aware of what's going on with his kicker in the warm-ups. He's going to be very in tune and paying attention this week to what the reasonable range of his kicker is, and he knows that this is the biggest game of his coaching career. He's not going to really put him out there for the kicks that are very questionable. I'm hoping for a clean game for the brand so that we don't have obnoxious Pat McAfee clips just blowing up Twitter when we should be talking about funny Clydesdale commercials and beer and stuff. Okay, like that's what Twitter should be for during the big game, not
the messy
Pat
Bud Light
McAfee
commercial.
Yeah, dude, this is we
Is
there
Messi
are
in the Bud Light
important things
commercial?
happening.
Is it Bud Light or is it what is it Bud Light? I'm pretty sure.
You're the soccer guy. You would know. I don't know.
All right, let's calm down with the soccer talk. But there's a Super Bowl commercial. I talk about soccer for 25 hours a week. This is my chance to talk about the real football. Okay.
You brought him up.
Football
dude.
is life. Okay. But hey, Pat, that's twice we've mentioned you on our show. If you want to sponsor us, just give me a holler.
Yeah, dude, for the brand. We'll all cut off our sleeves too for you, dude. Don't even worry.
Sure.
I've got these pipes. I would. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be hiding these things anyway. So.
No, you can't have those guns in public. You're not registered.
Now, this next bet that I got for the listeners. You may think that I'm just here for funs and games and giggles.
You're all about the coin.
Come on now. You know how often the Gatorade bath for the Chiefs have been orange? I don't know, but in my head it's always been orange. Every time I see Andy Reid get dunked, for some reason in my head it's orange, dude.
We're all just different angles of the same picture.
When they beat the 49ers, it was in fact orange. It was orange because I just cut this video for another job, and it was orange. So there is precedent.
See, and I feel like that maybe even knowing that, they will then try and repeat the success with the orange Gatorade.
I'm going to be drinking the same exact things on Sunday. So why wouldn't the Chiefs?
Dude, plus 325. Come on. This is easy. Now it's not as sexy as the octopus last year. I understand that. But we're not here for sexy. We're here for money. And
nobody who's watching this thinks we're here for sexy. If you are watching us on YouTube, we're not mistaking for a sexy show.
No, you are here for sexy. That's why you're here.
Well, obviously there's got to be some eye candy, but
but yeah, that's not me. I'm just here to get you some coin, and we're riding with the orange Gatorade this year, fam. No coin toss predictions. No nonsense. Just good old fashioned orange Gatorade baths and memories. Let's do it. Yeehaw.
All right. And then the last of your 15 props, highest scoring quarter. And I think that there's real method here. You're not just randomly picking the second quarter.
No, this is actual logic. I think that second quarter is a great. I expect the first half to be insane. At halftime, I expect the score. My prediction for the first half score is going to be 21-10, Kansas City. And then the game slows down after halftime because of the adjustments. Both teams know can make those defensive adjustments. And we're going to slow the game down a lot. The first quarter. I was talking earlier about Super Bowl jitters, about just kind of getting into the flow of the game, figuring that out. I think that the second quarter is the prime time to go out there and try and get some points. At plus 180, it's too tempting.
Yeah.
I like it way too much, and it makes a little too much sense for me. I'm gonna have to hit this line with a few dollars, if y'all know what I mean. Uh, this is actually probably my favorite bet of all the ones that I have, because it seems too good to be true.
Well, yeah. So the first quarter and the third quarter begin with 75-yard drives because you've got touchbacks on opening kickoffs. First quarter, teams are feeling each other out. There may only be 3 possessions in that first quarter. Third quarter, adjustments have been made, just like you said. Fourth quarter, there's going to be one team at the end trying to run the clock out. Second quarter, though, both teams are trying to score at the end. Both teams are doing their best to score. Both teams are using timeouts. Second quarter makes a ton of sense. I like it.
I love that pick. That's wonderful.
Expect to see that on an exotic, right? You didn't expect to see any brains used at the exotic picks, did we?
I love it. Well, wait till you see my exotics. It's nothing but brains.
Oh, here we go, Kyle. What? Speaking of which, Kyle, what do you got for us?
I'm going to get there. So, hey, we are now an hour and a half in. If you have stuck with us through 30 prop bets, we've got 14 more for you, or 15 more for you. Hang with us because we are making you money. All right. Shortest TD is going to be over 1.5 yards. I don't think anybody is scoring from the 1. I think you're scoring from the 2 or out. Plus 135. I like that. I don't think that we're going to have a goal to go from the 1 situation. I'm going over on that, and I'm getting plus money. Points scored for the 49ers. I've got their scoring band 21-30, just like Tommy. I am with Tommy on this. I'm going to get plus 140 on that 21-30 points scored for the 49ers. And then the quarters won. Now, Tommy's going to look at this and think, what? Well, under 1.5, that means that the 49ers can only win 1 quarter. Well, I think that there's probably going to be 1 or 2 quarters that are going to be tied. So we're only going to have a couple of quarters that are going to actually be won by one team or the other. So going under 1.5 and getting plus money does not, to me, feel like a slight against the 49ers. It just feels like kind of how the game would normally go. I think you're at most somebody's going to win 2 quarters, but probably a team's only going to win 1 quarter. So I'm going under on that for the 49ers to win just 1 quarter, and that is paying me plus 125. Any thoughts on those 3 bets?
I love all of them. I think that you got it down with all 3. The logic makes complete sense. I especially love that quarters 1, especially when you reminded me there about that teams can tie. I kind of forgot about that. I forgot that for quarters we do share that with soccer. So I love all 3 of these picks. I think you're on it.
Tommy, is that correct that we share that with soccer? You are a go-to guy on that. Can you weigh
in soccer? Yes, you
Okay.
can tie.
Okay,
All those football fans out there that don't know anything about soccer, you learned something new today. That soccer doesn't have an ending that is satisfying about 50% of the time.
It's terrifying. Terrifying
Well,
stuff.
and what's interesting is the 90 minutes of play aren't all that satisfying either. So it's
And it's sometimes not even 90 minutes. They say 90 minutes and then there's extra minutes. It's just okay. There's a lot of soccer that I'm still learning, but we'll get there.
It's the goddamn Europeans. That's we fought a revolution so we didn't have to play soccer. Why did we bring it back to the country? I don't understand.
I'm not gonna keep talking about this so my boss doesn't yell at me. But
I'm thrilled that you're a viewer, Tommy's boss. Tell your friends.
Yeah, of course. I like all of them. The only one I'd be like a little bit on the fence about slightly maybe is the shortest touchdown. Just because the Chiefs could very well get on the 1 yard line and pound it in with Pacheco. It just kind of seems
But this is the 49ers.
Oh, this is the 49ers.
So,
then absolutely, you're right.
CMC scoring from the 5. He's not scoring.
Sorry, I mixed up my team props, but absolutely, these are all totally. I'm on board with all of them for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right, moving on to the Chiefs team props. So I know Tommy's not going to like this, but I'm doing it because I'm getting plus 450. The Chiefs winning by 7 to 12 points. Plus 450 feels like how do you say no to that? So I'm going to go on that plus 450. It's my predicted score anyway. I think they're going to win by 10, but 7-point win to a 12-point win. That's not that outrageous for me getting plus 450. I'm doing that. Over 2.5 sacks. Again, not outrageous. This is one of the top sack teams in the league. You're going to get probably 2 sacks from blitzing. Then all you need is Chris Jones to clean up something, Karlaftis to clean up something. So 3 sacks is really not a bad day for the 49ers offense. And that's also paying me plus money, plus 105. And then total rushing attempts over 23.5. Again, that feels like kind of a no-brainer. The Chiefs are going to want to run the football. As we talked about, both the Lions and the Packers ran the ball pretty well against the 49ers. I think the Chiefs are going to want to probably have a couple of fewer possessions for San Francisco in this game. Hang on to the football, run the football, and in fact, Pacheco himself hit over 25 carries last week. So, as a team, absolutely, I like that. It's minus 105, but I think it's going to hit. I think it's going to hit probably early fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm with you on 2 of these 3. I'll say I'm with you on all 3 just because the value for bet number 1 is so high. I mean, and it's not even like a parlay. It's a single pick, and if one contingency hits, you will get plus 450. So I completely understand the logic on that. Over 2.5 sacks makes complete sense too. I mean, the interior line is going to collapse for the Niners a couple of times. Brock's playing with the brightest lights of his career. It's not the Cheez-It Bowl, so he's going to get taken down a couple of times, especially when he tries to get out of the pocket, which he doesn't do very often, but he'll have to this game. And then total rushing attempts, yeah, your explanation did more than enough justice for that.
Yeah, I kind of had to look up there for a second because the second I saw that first bet, I just had to grab my phone and lock it in. Are you kidding me? I got to go take this to the bank, I
like it. All right, we are going to move on to some individual props, and I'm no different than anybody else. I have got Christian McCaffrey also featured. I have got a little 25 plus receiving yards to go along with 80 rush yards. That's paying me plus 114. That to me feels like, if that's all he gets, the Chiefs are in pretty good shape. I think that he probably goes over both those totals because he's Christian McCaffrey. I'm getting plus money on 80 rushing yards and 25 receiving yards. I'm all over that one. Brock Purdy, I'm going to go with an under on the passing yards, partly because I think CMC is going to have a really good game on the ground. There's not going to be the need for Purdy to pass a lot. They're going to move the ball pretty well. I think we'll see Purdy throw the ball late in the game, but for the most part, McCaffrey's going to be the guy. I do think he throws an interception. He goes under his 246.5 passing yards plus an interception. That pays me plus 156. And then perhaps my favorite prop of all, CMC to throw a pass. Now, he threw a touchdown pass last year against the Rams. And again, we know that Andy Reid's going to have a couple of trick plays because they've had 2 weeks to prepare. I bet Kyle Shanahan also has some trick plays up his sleeve. And who better than your best player to pull that off than Christian McCaffrey? A little pitch out to McCaffrey. The Chiefs are all about stopping McCaffrey. They know they've got to stop McCaffrey. Everybody rushes to the line, and then CMC stops and throws a pass. I think it happens, and that's paying me plus 1,100. He doesn't have to complete it. It doesn't have to be a touchdown. It doesn't have to go for anywhere. He just has to throw it, and I get plus 1,100. I think that's going to happen. Those are my 49er prop bets.
I want you to actually put some money on that CMC prop. That would be so fun if that hit. That would be like the octopus.
Can you not see Shanahan drawing that up for his best player right now?
Oh no, it's like it's got to be. It's got to be
in the playbook. It is definitely in the playbook. I just hope that we're lucky enough to see it. At plus 1,100 too. The line is just way too big, to deny playing that one. I'm gonna put money on it if Kyle doesn't.
You'd think that would be an exotic prop, but for some reason, that's in his player prop. So
it's not exotic because it will happen, dude. It's
now you guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We cannot see you.
Some reason my camera went out. I have no idea why, but I am still here.
Okay.
So Casper the Ghost is now going to be presenting the rest of Kyle's props.
And I don't know how to get my camera going without also accidentally shutting everything off. So I'm just going to leave it be. Okay. Moving on to my Chiefs player props. I think I need an 8-year-old to help me how to handle the internet here. Travis Kelce gets 8 catches and 72 receiving yards. That's a good game for Kelce, but I think the guy is going to have a good game because it's the playoffs, and he always has good games in the playoffs. That's going to pay me plus 124. The longest yak from a single reception is going to go to Rashee Rice. Rice was 3rd in the league in yak this season. So for him to have the longest yak on any one single catch makes pretty good sense to me, and it's paying me plus 325. Why wouldn't I want to do that? And Mahomes, 26 rushing yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns. That's paying me plus 180. Again, why wouldn't I want to do that? I think that Mahomes is going to have another good game running the football. I think he's going to be in the 30s with his rush yards. All he needs is 2 passing touchdowns. All of these are paying me plus money. None of these seem like they're outrageous. I think that at least one of these, maybe 2 of these, are going to hit.
The ghost of Super Bowl future is speaking to us. Oh, he's back. It wasn't the ghost. It was Kyle Garlett.
I don't need an 8-year-old. I got that on my own. Yeah.
Wow, look at you go. So self-sufficient. But all of these seem more than realistic. The only one that I might be a little iffy on is the Rashee Rice longest yak, not because I don't think he's capable. And they're going to give him a lot of opportunities behind the line. I think he's going to have the most total yak in the game. But on a single reception, I could really see a quick slant to Debo where he takes it 40 yards. That's kind of that's the name of his game. But total yak on the game, I'm on board with Rice. But I think, it might be a toss-up for who has the single reception because, you kind of throw in a little bit of, you don't know what's going to happen. It's single reception. Yeah. One guy could break off. MVS could have the most for all we know. No, he won't.
No, he won't.
But
MVS catches the ball and then gets tackled.
Or he's falling over when he's catching the ball.
Yeah.
But I like all of these.
Just quickly on the Rice thing. I when I was reading about this before I decided to do this, he actually tied Tyreek Hill for yak this year. It's like, that just blows my mind because we always think of Tyreek Hill as you get the ball to Tyreek Hill and he's gone. So I was shocked by that Rice and Tyreek Hill had the exact same amount of yak this season. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, that's actually a crazy stat, to be honest with you. Especially from a rookie. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. Tyreek Hill and Rasheed Rice. Wow, that's wild. But it's also because Tua is underthrowing every pass to Tyreek.
Yeah, he's not setting his guys up to go take the ball the distance.
But yeah, I like all of them. All of them were in plus money, and getting especially the Kelsey one in plus money is kind of wild in the playoffs. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, my only question is, what was Travis Kelsey to throw a pass? It was his odds too low. Like, what's going on here, dude? Why don't we just parlay him and CMC, right? I'm sure that's got to be playing.
Oh,
plus
that would. Oh
2,000,
man,
right?
that would pay for. That would be pay a ton. Because Kelsey hasn't thrown a pass in quite some time. He'll take snaps and run the ball. Kelsey might get a carry.
This is the perfect time. This is the perfect time.
No one's going to see it coming. No one's going to see it coming. All right. Now on to my 3 exotics. And so I went pretty exotic here. So the halftime show, Usher is going to cover one of Taylor Swift's songs. That's paying me plus 600. Come on, Usher. You know you want to do it. She's going to be there watching.
And he's going to make so much money. He's going to make so much money. If
you can release it as a single. You're just the Swifties
all
are
the
going to
views.
Oh, come on, Usher. Do it. Do it for me. Plus 600.
I knew you were
trouble. So my second one, this one's negative money. We're going to see at least 2 Elvis costumes during the broadcast of people in the crowd.
Where did
They're going to show the crowd, and we're going to see at least 2 Elvis costumes. Of course, it's Las Vegas. We're going to see like a dozen Elvis costumes. That's an easy minus 120 that I'm getting right there. Just show me some Elvis and you know that Tony Romo right now is telling his producers, hey, every time you guys see an Elvis guy, show him. I've got some funny quips. You know that's happening right now in the CBS meetings. We are going to see a lot of Elvis in this football game. And then Gronk's trying his field goal again. Gronk's going wide left. He's going to overcompensate. He's going to kick the ball too hard. He's going to pull it left. Plus 175 on
He's
Gronk.
He's going to hook it left, dude.
He's going to hook it because he's going to put too much into it. He doesn't have touch. He's going to overswing, go wide left. Plus 175.
Yeah, he's a big caveman. He's
right, exactly.
Kick ball.
So plus 175 on Gronk. Come on, Gronk. Do exactly what you're expected to do.
He's so stiff,
and miss that
dude.
field goal.
Like he's,
oh my god.
He's like the least athletic person I've ever seen. The way he moves, like he looks like he's hobbling. He looks like he should be in a nursery, but the guy somehow finds a way to like break 3 tackles and go for 100 yards.
Yeah.
My only complaint is that there's not enough action on these Elvis bets, huh? I would bet 2 Elvises, 1 screen at one time, like 1 frame. Like I would be willing to play that.
Do a little double box. Do a little double box of Elvises.
I would play this up to 6.5 Elvises. I think. I think that would be a solid line to play.
The alternate spread.
And I think that the Gronk misses
he's the Elvis spread up for sure.
And I also think that Gronk misses the field goal so far left that the Buffalo Bills hire him to be their next kicker next year to reverse the curse. That's what I got.
He's going to kick it wide right, and then the Bills are going to hire him because they're going to compensate.
Awesome stuff.
So yeah, I mean,
great props here, Kyle. You found some good ones here.
And if I could find like a fat Elvis versus a skinny Elvis, I would totally bet on that as well. Because I think we're probably going to see more fat Elvises than young skinny Elvis.
What's the over under on the peanut butter? What is it?
The peanut butter and banana sandwich. Yeah.
What's the over under on those?
He would fly to Denver for those. He would get in his private jet and fly from Memphis to Denver, so that he could have his little peanut butter and jelly and banana
all those carbon
sandwich.
Emissions for a goddamn sandwich.
How could you ever find peanut butter, jelly, and banana in Tennessee? No, you have to come to Colorado for that. That's a Colorado specialty.
Yeah.
That's just a case of a guy having a lot of money and being on some drugs. Allegedly. All right. He died, taking a crap. That's usually not the sign of a guy who's kept his body clean.
Kyle, how did we go from Lee Harvey Oswald to Elvis doing drugs?
We cover the gamut on this show. We are in tune with pop culture. Obviously, these are very, very recent, fresh references to the Kennedy assassination and to Elvis dying in 1977.
Say goodbye to my career, man. Oh my God.
No, this is look. People are going to be
career's
impressed.
in soccer. You'll be fine.
Yeah. None of your people even understand this. It's all in English.
Oh my goodness. We have Joe Schmidt on my team.
Is he an American?
Yes.
All
There's
right.
a lot of
Joe.
Americans.
Hey, Joe, watch us.
I'll make sure he does.
Good. Hey, Joe. Good luck this year.
Hi, Joe.
All right. 45 props in the books. We've given you all of our picks. What a show. What a weekend. It's Super Bowl 58 from the Sin City, capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, we always go out with little football zen, so I was trying to find a Super Bowl song for our football zen, and I came across a couple. Ben, are you familiar with the Stray Kids? So it's the Stray Kids. It's a group. They're out of Korea, and they have a song called Super Bowl. Let's listen.
Finger licking, yeah, we cooking up a Super Bowl. In the kitchen, Michelin, irresistible. Feeling pride, state of mind. Finger licking, yeah, we cooking up a Super Bowl.
Finger licking. They said that so many times. It's like
I'm
sponsored
so
by
proud of them,
KFC.
dude.
That
Yeah, I was
wasn't
about to
exactly.
say.
It wasn't exactly what I was looking for, so I went to go find another. And Conway the Machine and Juicy J, they also combined for a song about the Super Bowl.
Big rings, 2 of those. Super Bowl, yeah. Lot of money, yeah. Lot of money, yeah. Big 40, play with me. Feeling like I won the AOC. Ram truck to get from A to B. Still winning what they hate to see. Yeah. Got the 40 on the stage with me. Never lack, go wait and see. Never lack, go play and see.
I gotta put that on my workout playlist.
That was the clean version. And you want the clean version because the dirty version is it's definitely not you don't listen to it when you're at work with your soccer fans. That would not go well. So those, neither one of those really hit the bill for me. So I just went with the good old standard NFL films, the Lombardi Trophy processional song. That is what's going to take us out as we say goodbye for this evening and get everybody ready for the Super Bowl. And of course, because it's Lombardi processional, I've added a little video about the Lombardi Trophy. And that is going to be our moment of football zen as we get you all ready for the Super Bowl. So thank you all for joining us. If you have watched us on YouTube, then you have been treated to an evening of delight. If you're listening to us on your podcast of choice, we appreciate that as well, but you can also find us on YouTube. And on behalf of Ben O'Connell, who is in Chicago, Tommy Burch, who is in Essex, Connecticut. I can't believe I remembered that this many minutes later. I am in Denver, Colorado, and we are thrilled that you joined us tonight. Happy betting for Super Bowl 58.
Yeah, let's go soccer.